to the podcast where we talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And on this spontaneous paranormal conversation.
Woo! Starting off the month with the SPC.
In all honesty, this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, just because I think at least doing it once a month at the beginning of the month is good, because we can kind of set the how would you say it? Presence. It's escaping my head, the word, but the goals and the conversation topics and stuff like that for the ambiance, whatever you want to call it, for the next month, and update you guys instead of giving you one long a haunted update every episode or anything like that. So, plus, I specifically wanted to do this.
Where the hell did that Lego come from?
What Lego?
That Lego.
I don't know.
Killian wasn't here.
Yeah, our son likes to leave Lego pieces. He's in that Lego phase. But I thought it would be good too, because I know I said when we did the Monroe Institute and the Gateway Project stuff that I was going to do a whole big update in June. And I've been doing it since then. And there's just too many good things. I can't wait till June. So not good things per se, but intriguing things, I should say.
The only thing weird I saw is a video on TikTok that I saw of this weird, shadowy Dementor floating thing in the sky that someone caught in a plane. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. But that made me remember back to when I flew an airplane when I went over to Denver for work, and I felt something up there, right? Mm-hmm. My right hand. So there is stuff floating up there of dark energy.
That's so creepy when you think about it, because you think, I don't know, you think that up in the airplanes and stuff you wouldn't have that stuff, but I guess it is.
At 30,000 feet?
Ugh, that's just creepy. I don't know. Well, I guess if somebody had an attachment or something attached to them,
they could see it. They physically saw it floating around.
Oh, they physically saw it?
Yes. They caught it on camera.
Oh, shoot. Now that's another level there.
It makes you wonder if I flew past one of those things and I caught it. Yeah.
I have no response to that. I don't even know how to respond to that.
I don't know, it looks squid-like, right?
Squid-like?
Well, I guess squids flow. We got the tentacles and they flow through water, right? It kind of looked like that, but if the top head part was like a shadowy Dementor-looking kind of figure.
Well, I've seen figures like that before, regular.
But they caught this. I mean, probably different explanations, but it looks like something up there. Yeah. But I maybe flash back to, is that what I felt when I was flying a plane? I felt something in my right hand. Yeah. Imagine you now in a plane, or.
Well, I don't like planes to begin with, so.
Well, now it's the worst time to get in a plane. But I said, if we fly right now, when's the last time you actually been in a plane? That's a better question.
When I was pregnant and we went to visit your parents and my parents for the not last time, but we knew it was going to be a good chunk of time, so I'd be right before Kelly.
No, we drove then. Because your sister was with us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So it was the time before that, so it had to be 2014? No, that's when we moved here. And Killian was born in 2016, so I think it was 2015. Yeah, because I was still working at Walmart, because I remember they tried to get me in trouble because I took vacation.
But I was thinking, now that your abilities are stronger, right? Imagine what you would sense while you're up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't know. I used to always try to sleep on the plane, so I would literally not sleep for hours before I would get on the plane. And then, because I've only taken a plane 4 or 5 times at the most. And yeah, I would try to sleep. I don't know how people do it with kids though, how they take kids on the planes. That sounds like a stress.
Well, it keeps them distracted.
Oh, that just sounds stressful. especially babies. I don't know. Maybe it's easier.
Killing will be all right.
Yeah.
Just give him his phone and let him play Monster Truck games.
Yeah, that's true. But the reason why I wanted to do this episode was because of kind of the progression that I've gotten and some things, insightful things that I've gotten while doing the Gateway meditation. So we have a whole episode if you don't know what the Gateway meditation is, and if you don't know like about the Monroe Institute, we have 2 episodes. The Monroe Institute and the study of OBEs was the first like weekly episode, and the bonus episode was I tried the Gateway meditation. And essentially it's these videos that were put out, meditation videos that were put out by the Monroe Institute using HemiSync technology, that gets you apparently in a decent state, and there's different levels and stuff like that. And the crazy thing is, you would think somebody that is as proficient with like astral projection and doing it on my own, that I would get further along quicker, but that's not the case. It's taken me a long time to get through these steps. But one of the things I talked about in the Gateway meditation video, or not video, but episode, was that apparently somebody on the forums said, because there's a whole like Reddit forum about it, and one of the things that they talked about was Robert Monroe, seeing him at some stage. And I was like, I even said on the episode, I was like, I'll let you know if I see him. I'll let you know. Well, I'm here to let you know I did a meditation and saw the dude. Like, I had no intentions when I was going in there. I literally put myself as loose as possible so I could really get the vibes and go somewhere. And this had to be about like a week and a half ago. I was doing the meditation and I was in this room, and it was almost like a classroom. It was those old school projectors, but the projector was weird because it went on the ceiling, right? So it was like pointed up at the ceiling and you could see images. And there's this guy, and at first I didn't know it was Robert Monroe. It's just some old dude that was dressed in like those old fashioned slacks, you know, like you see older men wear, with the belt, had some kind of jewelry on, I can't remember, but kept looking at something in his pocket, kept like taking out almost like a watch kind of thing. It could have been a watch or a compass, I'm not quite sure. And it wasn't the same old guy that I'd seen in other meditations. Like, this guy was distinct, and I remember looking at him and there was no talking, but he kept going back to this little side table he had, and I was sitting in a chair and he was writing something down. And I couldn't remember what he wrote down at first. And I woke up from the meditation and I was like, I don't know who this old guy is. I'm just for shits and giggles, I'm going to look up what Robert Monroe looked like. Sure enough, had the same outfit on, had the same look, like he was to the T. And I can even imitate like how he walks. Like, it was so clear. And I remember him writing something down, and I was trying for weeks, like just meditating on what the heck this guy was writing down. Because he kept kind of like showing me like, hey, I'm writing something down, pay attention, but I couldn't see what it was in the original meditation. And then I kept getting things from my guide saying, oh, it's in like your subconscious, like check your mind forest, check whatever. And so you went in my mind forest, and apparently there was where I have like my stuff, I guess, is how you would describe it. I'm sorry, it sounds weird. If you're new to this episode, definitely go back to past episodes, because it's going to get a little weird, and it's probably going to be like, wait, what are you talking about? So definitely go back to like the Shadow Walker series, Megan's Abilities, because the Mind Forest is definitely interesting. Anyways, so you said you saw coordinates. You said you saw like a piece of paper with coordinates on it. I was like, okay, what did it say? And then when you said the coordinates, I was like, yes, that's what it was. And so
it reminded me of like how Joe McGonigal said that they would test him by giving him coordinates, longitude and latitude, to go to that location and tell them what they see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was like, well, okay, I'm going to look up these latitude and longitude coordinates and figure out where the hell he's talking about. I looked him up, and this is what gave me chills, because I, for some reason, just like I always talk about, have ties to, on my spiritual journey, not like in my bloodline, but on my spiritual journey with like Native American stuff, I'm very much so with stuff Egypt-wise too. Like, that I don't know, that always comes up for me. And it was coordinates to Egypt. Like it was the exact coordinates to Egypt. And I was like, whoa, what the heck? What are you trying to, like, around like the pyramids? But it wasn't exactly where the pyramids are. I don't know. It was bizarre. And so I kept doing that. And recently I did it just yesterday. And yesterday's was kind of bizarre too. I keep having this dream where I'm walking on a highway barefoot. Like I'm just in like regular schmegular clothes, and I am myself, and I'm walking in this desert on this highway. Almost kind of looks like when people depict like Highway 66 and stuff like that, like the plain, like just nothing's around desert highway. And it's got to be like New Mexico, someplace like Arizona, someplace like that. And I'm just walking, and I see, like, I don't know if it's, I think it's canyons. I'm pretty sure it's canyons in the distance. And what happens when you go into these meditations is they let you listen to ocean waves first. And the first couple of meditations I did, it was ocean waves. Like I could clearly hear the ocean waves. But last night when I did it, it sounded like cars passing. It didn't sound like ocean waves. And every time I tried redirecting, saying it was ocean waves, my brain was like, no, it's cars passing. You know, like when you're walking and you hear them go shoo, shoo,
yeah,
shoo. And it felt like that. And I kept going back to that place. Well, last night, and that's another thing that's it's a problem, kind of. And I think that's why it's taken it so long for me to progress further into these things, because eventually you're supposed to start talking to not extraterrestrials, but higher beings. And I haven't made it past like step 2. But apparently I start listening to it, and I go too deep into the meditation, and I go to sleep, which is not, you want to be in that in-between phase. And I have no problem doing that on my own, but for some reason when I do the meditation, I go too far and I go like to sleep. But I had this dream, which I thought was weird. And I know a lot of people I've talked to have dreamed of like highways and stuff like that. Well, I had a dream. It went from that meditation that I was on this bridge, right? On this highway. And there was cars coming, cars going, and there was like 3 lanes on each side. And it was just like a major highway on a bridge. And I accidentally went the wrong way. I was going into the cars that were coming back instead of in the lanes that were going. And this cop pulled me over. And he goes, "Are you license plate 4322? And I was like, "I guess so. I don't know why I'm here though." And so he was like, "Well, you don't really need to know why. I just need to know why you were going on the wrong way." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm new here. I don't really know what's going on." And when I woke up, I had this like download in my subconscious and my conscious, like mingling, where they were talking about spiritual journeys and how essentially when you go through like lessons or whatever, you take an exit, right? When you get, I know a lot of people have talked about this on their spiritual journey. They feel like they're just like an idol, and that's when you're cruising on the highway. Then you turn off on essentially streets, and that's when you get the lessons and you get like new events, new opportunities, new ways to grow. And your goal is to keep going forward, right? The further and further you go is like the higher and higher consciousness you go. The people on the opposite side are the ones that are going low vibrational and going the wrong way and are going to have to loop all the way around and go back. And at the exits, right? Sometimes you go on the wrong one, so you have to loop around and go back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but it also makes me wonder about all the highway dreams I've ever had of getting lost and being extremely frustrated about that.
Well, maybe because your higher self or dream self is trying to figure out which highway to get back on.
Well, this is a long time ago now. I haven't had a dream like that forever.
Yeah.
But I remember those dreams specifically. And I always felt weird. Like I was driving a car, and then sometimes I was like, I wasn't on the like a driver's side. I was right in the middle, and then somehow it turned into like a little tiny like go-kart, and then I went back to the normal car. But I remember just kept on the highway trying to, God dang it! And I hate it more than anything when I get lost. Mm-hmm. Right? That's why I have used GPS to the high, even if I know where I'm going. Right?
Yeah.
I just make 100% sure. It's anxiety, but yeah, I've gotten lost several times, and it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
Right.
I think everybody is different how they deal with it. Like my grandmother will literally start crying. Like the feeling of being lost is not up her alley, which I don't think it's anybody's alley. But some people can handle it better, I think.
Last time I was lost, I was 20, so I've gotten better at driving now than ever.
Yeah, well, see, like I have a lot of highway dreams. I feel like, oh shoot, if you go back on the podcast, I've probably talked about it at least 10 times. I'm always on like highways, and there was like this one time where I kept trying to I kept getting lost in like a downtown area, and it was really like low vibrational, like all over. It wasn't even like the fact that it was poor. It was just a lot of bad things were happening there, and I kept trying to get out. And then too, I've been on an overpass, and I went to this dark spot where it was like a hotel where people were, I don't know, some crazy stuff. But so, that's a new avenue I think I want to look into, is like the idea of the highways and stuff. But I thought it was so weird. Like the best way to describe it, and I think even when I plugged like the dream meaning into AI, they kind of laughed at the idea that I said this, but the best way to describe the cop that was on the motorcycle that pulled me over and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" looked like the police copper in the Lego movie.
You look like a Lego figure?
No, he wasn't a Lego figure, but
No.
he just reminded me. He had the same like ambiance as that dude from that movie.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
real like weird, like strict weirdness. And like you didn't know whether to take him seriously or laugh. And so, but he was like, he had such a mean face when he pulled me over. I was like, oh shit, might as well. So I was like, I'm new here. I don't know what this is. And so, I mean, granted, the bridge was like it was very bright. And it was weird because in the dream I pulled over to this like, I don't even know what it is, like this old mom and pop touristy side gas station thing, and they sold like crazy like trinkets in there. And when I went in there, I had an encounter with a family member that I didn't have a bad experience with, but I don't per se talk to this family member, and they were in there. I don't know, it was weird. It was a weird encounter, so I don't really know. Yeah, I just thought that was weird because the whole highway thing, and then that. So I thought that was weird. But the weirdest thing that I didn't know from an outside perspective that you witnessed is apparently when you start doing the meditations, I will be in a dead sleep, and as soon as like Robert Monroe's voice plays in your headphones, I pop up, which freaks me out because I'm like, why am I doing that?
Well, like say, like as soon as I hear like you're now going into meditation, you're what? Like,
yeah.
How do you hear that in my headphones?
I don't know, and I don't even know like what I'm doing. But the hemi-sync, and I tell myself, you're not going to fall asleep, don't fall asleep, right? And I fall asleep, and I'm not like talking about like I am out, and it annoys me because it's like, because it's on a loop. Which, by the way, if you have Apple Music, you can listen to the meditations on Apple Music, and I'm sure it's probably on Spotify, so you don't have to go to YouTube to listen to it. But I don't know, it's a little bizarre. It freaks me.
Have I talked about what I saw when I did it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, now I remember.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if I did or not. But so when I did it, I went to the thing, but the only thing I remember seeing was me walking up to this guy who was sitting at like a picnic table bench, and it felt like we were outside and it was kind of a sunny day. And the guy I was walking up to kind of turned and looked at me like he was waiting for me specifically. Native American looking guy. Mm-hmm. Gray and black goatee, right?
Yeah.
Not very thick, almost like thin around his face, but I could see like the gray hairs and the black hair. And same, he had a ponytail that was underneath the hat that I could see like gray hair and the black hair. Like his hair was turning black, but it was turning gray in some spots. And he was wearing like a regular shirt sitting, but I remember seeing his hat. And his hat, also he was very like thin, kind of like wiry thin. But I remember seeing that face like a typical, oh, it's a Native American guy, right? Mm-hmm. And his like small goatee and like the ponytail and everything. But his hat, I don't remember what it was for, but I remember seeing the word veteran on it. right? Very clearly, like a lot of most veterans you see now and then they have like basically says veteran of certain war, or Marine veteran, Army vet, or whatever like that. But I can see what branch or anything like that. I just remember seeing the word veteran on his hat. Yeah.
And which that makes me think too, like maybe the gateway tapes kind of takes you through, like working through the muck first, right? And then starts taking you down like your spiritual journey, like what you need to see and what you need to go through. And then once you get past all of that stuff, then that's when you start getting into the crazy stuff, like time and space and all that.
Well, I often wonder if it's met by our focus or desire, right? Mm-hmm. Like how I'm extremely focused getting in contact with someone from the Native American elders or the tribe to basically explain my story to them. And hence why I saw a Native American man. Like maybe he was my contact in the future. Maybe he's a person that gets me in with them or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as I explained, what is your desire? What is your purpose? What do you want? Right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it shows you a way to get to it.
Well, I'm always intrigued and I'm always into, because one of the things I started doing is kind of hijacking my own mind in a sense, where I have a tendency, because I do think a lot of spiritual development coincides with your abilities when you go into the paranormal. So it goes hand in hand, essentially like self-development. So I'm really big into looking into that and kind of being able to control the mind, being self-aware. And one of the things that I make a lot of things more difficult than they need to be from like past stuff, that I've went through. And I tend to, if something is like, I tend to overcomplicate things, and then that's where procrastination comes in. Right. And I started doing this thing where, cause somebody on, I don't know, one of a TikTok or something like that basically said that you can rewire how you think by saying, instead of immediately going, oh, this is going to be hard, keep repeating to yourself, oh, this is going to be easy. This is going to be easy. I'm going to get through it. It's going to be easy. Right. And I've been doing that and been using that even in like manifestation and like calling in opportunities and things like that. And I think that's kind of where the whole highway and exits thing came into play. Like, I wonder if there's at some point, like, you can almost usher in a GPS to avoid taking those wrong turns. Because I know there's a few wrong turns that I took. Like a
What is it with you and auto metaphors? Remember how you said you would see people as vehicles?
Yeah, I don't know. It's how I see things.
And you have no we'll say you have no mechanic
people
skills.
In college like those. No, people in college like that when I do that in my writings and stuff. But that's how I can explain it, because if you can relate it to everyday things and like and I'm visual. So that's just the way I explain things and to myself to make more sense. But like almost having like a GPS to know exactly which routes to take instead of
then build one.
Exactly. So there you go. There's your imagination. Oh my gosh.
No one heard none.
But there goes your imagination. Like, you're limited through your imagination. So.
Well, I tell everyone, if you want to focus your abilities, almost imagine, and I say manifest, but imagine it into something, right? Mm-hmm. How I was able to see my ability was focusing on what I can see through my third eye, and that allowed me to have more control over it, because then I could see, and then I could almost imagine what it feels like, what it looks like, right? What it sounds like, therefore giving more control over it. Basically giving a thought an image, right? You want to feel something around that, you want your ability to focus, and focus it as something. Like Mike, from our good buddy from Unknown Paranormal, he could sense where something was. And I told him, oh, so like a spiritual radar or echolocation. Then as soon as I put that thought in his head, then he figured out how to focus it, and then he sees it like that. Like a wave going out and finding something, and oh, it's over here, right? And he focuses to that pole. So it's almost like allowing something practical to make sense of the supernatural.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it
makes sense. Yeah. And see, like, for me, ever since I was a young kid, I've been super hyper focused on missing people. Like, I think that would be one of my purposes, that I wish I could manifest my ability into that, to where
it already is.
Yeah. Well,
and I've been on your butt about it.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years.
Yeah, I know, but
it's confidence, my love.
I know. It's not doubting yourself, and I think that's a lot with spiritual abilities is that aspect of doubt, because you're pushed so much from the very beginning to have doubt and not, stay in the little box, don't go anywhere out of that little box kind of thing. And I would love to use my ability to find missing people, because my family has experience with my aunt that was murdered and went missing, and I think that's why I keep getting, I don't know if it's tied to a specific person or what, but like I said, that highway thing just keeps replaying in my head, and I'm just walking barefoot on a highway in the desert. So I don't really know, but who knows? Maybe this time next year I'll be helping solve missing people's case, because there is psychics that help that. So
not with your skill though.
Well, you would I would assume you would have to be particular about remote viewing, because you would have to, and then also it would make sense to be able to channel, because you would have to see through the eyes. And that's another thing that's been happening a lot with me with dreaming and even astral projecting, is seeing through the eyes of somebody else, which is another kind of freaky thing that's been happening. Not freaky, but it's just new, and it's just getting used to it. But, okay, now that we've gotten super deep and weird and stuff, what episode, I'm gonna ask you a question, because we're gonna talk about a lot of different kind of cool subjects this month. What episode are you looking forward to the most? Or what
we already
topic?
did it.
Which one was that?
Native American Legends and More.
Yeah. You were adamant about that one.
Yes.
And it's crazy because we didn't even scratch the surface of what is actually out there. I think my favorite one I'm actually really excited about that we're going to be covering is swamps and the paranormal, because it is evidentable just from our investigations alone that swamps hold something special, and it's one of the grossest areas to be in. I don't like swamps. Everybody that tunes into our investigations and stuff like that when we're in the swamplands knows that I just don't put a demon in front of me and whatever, but put me in murky water with the unknown and I can't do it. And
now I remember.
Yeah.
One that we should have done around Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Twin Flames or Soulmate.
Yeah, that's another one we're doing, which I think that might be the next one, since it's been backpedaled a little bit long.
Yes. Because that should have been around Valentine's Day. But who cares? You can talk about that anytime. But it also involves some of our past lives as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. And too, like I said, with the swamps, I started digging kind of deep into the Great Decimal Swamp, which is actually relatively close to us because it's on the North Carolina-Virginia border. And that stuff is crazy. Crazy. I thought the whole Hockomock Swamp and stuff like that was intense. And even some of the swamps in South Carolina and Louisiana, those are intense. And I know a lot of Native American lores and legends focus around the swamps, and there's so much history too that focal points on the swamps and stuff, and it's a big rabbit hole. If I can make it to the Dismal Swamp, I would probably investigate it, or parts of it. It's so big. But we have swamps here too, obviously Patsy's Pond, they have the sinkholes, which is kind of swampy-ish. And then obviously where the park is also swampy. Swamps also hold a very important part to witchcraft, good and bad. And so I think it's going to be a good episode when we do that one. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything. Oh, we're also going to talk on telekinesis too, that ability, which I'm kind of excited for.
Yeah, it's because I'm trying to do some version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's if you go on TikTok, you see people manipulating the weather. I think we're also talk about too in that episode. There's some weird stuff. Manipulating the water and stuff. Who knows if it's true or not? I don't know. But
I doubt it.
no, apparently it is. I don't know. And then two, the idea of how they say you can move things. There's different theories and insights and stuff like that. And then two, I think, I can't remember at the top of my head, but I think it was like the Montauk Project, or somebody had someone that was really supposedly gifted in telekinesis. Wasn't it Montauk Project? There was a girl.
I don't remember.
Don't tell me I'm making this story up again. No, I'm just kidding.
I remember the truthful part of it, and then I remember the outlandish part of it. And the outlandish part of it was a guy who, when he sat in a chair, was able to open up portals.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, helping a creature come through and kill the whole place and destroy it.
Yeah.
But that was a fantastical story.
No, I'm pretty sure there was like a female, because the story came out a lot when like Stranger Things was coming out with their last season, because she essentially was doing like similar stuff to what Elle was doing, with like moving things and stuff like that. I mean, not to the extreme version of what Elle was doing in Stranger Things, but very similar. And I think it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna talk about, because I know one of the things that they had said on a TikTok video as a theory is that like everything essentially is a bubble, and if you could match the energy of the bubble, then that you can move it. And then what you were talking too about like the atoms and stuff like that, where you're not actually touching something, it's very, very small. I think you said it on the live that we did.
Vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
If you can vibrate at the same frequency as the object in front of you, therefore you have control of it.
And that's just crazy. That's like a mind-blowing thing to think about.
But I have my own theories. I think I talked about with Mike in one of the lives about it, and how it's my focus. And then we had young William from WTC Paranormal jump on and had a good talk about him, about the aspects of paranormal when it comes to everything he's been experiencing as well.
Yeah, very cool person. If you haven't checked out his stuff, definitely.
Our 2 episodes we interviewed.
Yeah, he's very well above his years.
I'd say so. He's more mature than I was at his age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have a lot of cool things coming. As far as investigating, we have not been out, but hopefully soon, once everything defrosts.
Well, the cold was not saying an entire problem.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know, there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes kind of putting some blocks about going. But hopefully, we have plans to hopefully go back to Lake Waccamaw as well at some point to investigate. Yes.
We got something planned in October.
Yeah, but I think we had anticipations of going before, remember, in this, well, not in the summer, because I am not
packed to Lake Waccamaw, no.
Not getting bitten. Those mosquitoes were insane. I remember, do you remember we came back and we had like, looked
all
like
over
chicken
our face.
pox?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I'm surprised we didn't get malaria. Malaria? Yeah. Malaria, yeah. For the whole time being out there, but a lot of times you got bit. But,
or the norovirus, something like that.
I don't know, that comes from mosquitoes.
No. I'm saying it wrong. There's some kind of virus, but it's not noro, because noro is like the stomach. But like there's some other virus. Anyways, not important.
No, but we got something planned in October that we can't 100% say yay or nay on until October. Mm-hmm. So, but as every paranormal investigator, every paranormal podcaster knows, October is the month for us.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're always busy in that month.
Exactly. And Lake Waccamaw is really cool. We're hoping to kind of go to like the smaller in-between towns that kind of get overlooked. You know, obviously when you look up haunted locations in North Carolina, Wilmington always shows up. I think that's it on the East Coast, really, that pops up. But there's a lot of in-between towns that have a lot of history and have some crazy things that occurred there. And I know there's more stuff in between, and we just have to make our way to it. So,
well, Wilmington is our next city to conquer.
Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of places in Wilmington as well, other than the Battleship, because I feel like that is overdone and overdone and overdone.
Yes.
It's a cool place. It's a cool place to see, but it's like if I had to choose, there's more intense places I think than the Battleship.
So I don't think there's anything there of effectiveness after our last trip to Wilmington.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never I feel when I go to the Battleship, a lot of residual stuff. I mean, it's nothing compared. I personally don't think it's nothing compared to some of the other places that you could technically go. Like, I don't know, like the Sally House or anything like that. I think, if you are psychic, you're going to get imprints from the actual ship of like everyday energy. And then too, I also think that downtown Wilmington has a lot of stuff. So you kind of have those people that are haunting like downtown Wilmington that could trickle on over there. But the Battleship never gave me any like bad feelings.
Not no more.
Yeah, well, Isaac pulled. But but yeah, I've never felt threatened or anything like that on the Battleship, even before like I had abilities and stuff like that. I don't like tight spaces, and that place is tight. Tight spaces. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what we have planned for, I guess, this month of March.
So that wraps us up here.
Yeah, I think it does. Because my main thing that I want to talk about was the Robert Monroe thing. Because, like I said, not 100% it was him, but I'm pretty sure like 98% it was him. So,
well, check out our last episode about Native American legends and lores, and our previous, later the episode right before this one, our interview with Para Northwest. Hopefully have more interviews throughout the rest of this year. Have some people cited that I kind of want to bring on the podcast, either again or for the first time. But as always, guys, you can catch our social medias at Hidden the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden the Podcast 2 on TikTok, or links to all our social media. Always can listen to us at hiddenshadowspodcast.com. And as always, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
yes.